Jeff Folger. I saw you at the dump this morning.
Yes.
And you had this truck full of stuff.
We cleaned out the attic.
You cleaned out the attic?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you had people like, it was like flies on you-know-what around your truck.
It took 2 hours to load it and 10 minutes to get it unloaded.
It was like, you didn't even unload it. People just came up and picked stuff off the back of the truck.
I was a very popular person.
You were. I had to take it or leave it this morning.
Yes, I was.
Yeah. What are you doing at the airport now?
Picking up Lori's kids.
Yeah?
Yeah.
They're coming from where?
They're coming from Hyannis.
Hyannis?
Mm-hmm.
A nice place to be. What are you doing on Sunday? What do you do on Sunday generally?
I cleaned out the attic.
Yeah. It took you a while to get it cleaned out, didn't you?
Yeah. We started this morning at 8, and I left at 11:30 to make the dump before noon.
That's not too bad.
No.
Was the dump nuts today or what?
No, pretty average for a Sunday.
Is it?
Yeah.
I guess I don't get out there on Sunday.
Oh, Sunday's big.
It was like standing room only out there. You couldn't get a parking space when we were there.
Take it or leave it is big on Sunday.
Yeah, there was nothing there. It was picked clean when we got there.
Was it?
Except your truck. It's unbelievable. So what are you doing these days?
Same thing as I always am doing.
Masonry?
Masonry.
How's that?
It's good.
Good?
We're busy.
Ton of work in there.
Yeah, just finishing up a chimney and getting ready to start something else.
Yeah.
And then getting ready to start something else.
Are you playing any music?
I just started playing again. I just restrung the guitar today.
Right.
And with any luck at all, I'll start playing.
That would be a good thing to
Yeah.
do. Joel, come here.
Hey, you never know. Maybe the Nantucket Nectars people will let me play on their
You
big
never
concert.
do. How's the band doing?
I'll get Joel. Joel and I are going to play
Yeah?
the Nantucket Nectars concert.
Yeah? You gonna play the Nantucket Nectars concert?
You and me.
I hope so.
Yeah?
Playing
Good.
at the Muse on Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th? That's that'll be right when this show is on. You guys are playing next weekend.
Just on Friday.
Just Friday.
Playing a high school dance on
All right.
Play the Muse?
E-Cliff and the Swing Dogs, Friday the 13th at the Muse.
We're playing the hockey rink benefit on Daffodil Weekend.
Why you
Oh yeah?
I will. Excuse me.
That's cool. That's a cool thing to do. The hockey rink benefit, Daffodil Weekend.
No.
She doesn't want to talk.
Come on over, Joe.
Joel, you got 1 minute. Come on.
I gotta go to work.
Are you an employee owner of the airline?
Yes, I am.
You are? A
ESOP.
stockholder?
ESOP, yes, I'm a stockholder.
Is that a good thing to be?
I guess so.
You making money?
As long as the stock stays stable.
Is it doing well?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, you guys are now, very shortly, will be sponsoring our show.
Yeah.
Excellent. There you go.
Yeah, it is
We're
good.
very happy to have you.
We're happy, you know why?
I'm glad that we could make that corporate decision to
Yes.
help sponsor your show.
We appreciate it because hopefully
Yes.
we're going to work out a deal.
Evidently,
with Cape
CNN
Air.
watches your show too.
Yeah, tell us about that. Do you know about that?
I only heard, rumors, and you know how rumors can be.
Right.
But I think that's just goes to show the power of the show. See you guys.
The power of
The power of the
Nantucket
show.
media.
Yes.
And our television show. What we're hoping is that we can work it out with Cape Air that, in exchange for advertising, that we can fly places with them. Yeah. And then we can do this show from Provincetown or the Vineyard or Boston or wherever. Where do you guys fly? Marathon Key?
Marathon Key
We'll
West.
be going down there.
Yeah, well, I'd like to
I'm
go
going
there.
down in March.
Are you?
Practice with the band down there.
Oh, cool.
The
We may
hangar
need to
party.
go down there and see the band.
Not our band. This is the Pilots band. The Pilots have a band.
The pilots have a band?
The Unidentified Flying Lemons.
I'm not sure how comfortable I am flying an airline with musician pilots. Is this something I need to worry about?
As long as they're clean and sober.
Yeah, and they are.
To check in to go to Hyannis.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
You can watch the process.
especially since I have the.
Okay. We'll watch Joel check you. Can we talk to you about where you're going
Sure, I'd
to?
be delighted.
You're going to Hyannis today?
I'm going to Hyannis.
What are you doing there?
Picking up my car in the airport and driving back home to Newton.
To Newton.
Yes.
Oh, that's a nice place to be.
Well, it's pretty good.
How
Isn't
much
it?
do you weigh, sir?
We won't broadcast that thing. Don't worry.
That can be bleeped.
Approximately 180 pounds. Although after lunch today at the Jared Coffin House, I wouldn't want to guarantee it. I think it's more like another 6 pounds. but
Have you been down here for the weekend?
Yes, I come once a year in the winter to visit a dear friend who's retired and lives here.
Really?
And it is the most wonderful time of year to be here. I couldn't manage it in the summertime.
Right.
Wall-to-wall bodies. I can actually see the buildings and the pavement when I'm down at this time of year.
It's nice, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
When was the last time you were here in the summer?
Oh, jeepers. Maybe 15 or 20 years ago.
That long ago.
Yeah.
It's worse now.
Yeah,
Believe
it's
me.
hard to imagine, but it is just one of the most perfect places in the world to visit in the wintertime.
Isn't it?
And I have dear friends, and then we went out, and another friend took us out to see her recently acquired house on the South Shore, right on the beach.
Very nice.
And looking at the sea, for me, is a great wonder and a great nourishment. I cross the ocean every year on a freighter. I take a long trip across the ocean
Really?
on freighters. And the one thing that approximates it for me is coming down here and looking at the sea in the winter,
Right.
because it is that same sea and skyscape. And she, actually, she's a minister on the island.
Oh, yeah.
And
Nancy.
It's Nancy.
Yes.
Exactly. That's
We know
right.
Nancy
Yeah, well, we
very
had brunch together, Nancy
Nice.
and our mutual friend Nina Fish. And Nancy took us out to her place.
Isn't it a great place?
It's wonderful. And also, something I hadn't known about Nancy, because I'd met her before, that we share a certain interest in Tibetan Buddhism
Oh, really?
as well. And because there were a couple of artifacts around the house, I said, and indeed, so we chatted about that. But then sitting and looking at the sea, and it was a Tibetan Buddhist monk who's a friend of mine, a former psychiatrist who became a Tibetan monk,
Right.
or a Buddhist monk. And he was always sort of encouraging me to do meditation, as Nancy was doing. And I said, I really can't get to it. But then I talked to him about my travels on the ocean and how I just stand on this ship for days and look at the sea and just let it sort of fill me and empty myself in a way into it.
Right.
And he says, you don't have to meditate, David. That's your meditation.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what Nancy experiences at her house on the shore.
Every
And
day.
it was just the feeling that I had when I was there
Right.
today.
Nancy's an incredible human being, by the way.
Wonderful.
Reverend
She is-
Nancy Nelson.
She's quite remarkable.
She and I share an interest in the rock and roll band Alice in Chains. Also, she has quite an eclectic taste in music.
And isn't there a musician who plays for her services? Is there a rock musician who plays for her at services?
Yeah, I don't know who
What's
that
his
is,
name?
but
He's at some club in town that she
oh
told
yeah,
me about. And
but it doesn't surprise me in the
Yeah,
least.
yeah.
She's a remarkable human being.
Yeah.
And now this freighter thing,
yeah.
I've always dreamed about that. And you know, growing up, there were rumors that you could buy passage on a freighter and cross the sea. And then when I finally called a freight broker, he said, "Oh no, they don't do that anymore.
There's
You're not allowed
masses
to
of them
do
all
it."
over the world.
Is that true?
Oh yeah, you can go just about anywhere you want to by freighter. The only thing is you have to be somewhat flexible with your schedule, and
Right.
I can't be wonderfully flexible, so I have to depend upon a fairly disciplined line, and inevitably lately it's a German line.
Right.
So they have relatively dependable schedules going in and out of one.
They make the freighters run on time.
They will run on time.
Yeah.
And in fact, there's one now that I'm going to be taking in April again, which leaves from Newark, New Jersey,
Right.
a glorious
I've been to the
vacation
port of
resort.
Newark,
Port
yes.
Newark, and goes down the coast to Norfolk, then to Savannah, and then to Valencia. Doesn't that sound
Wow.
marvelous?
Yeah.
Sailing to Valencia.
How does one find these?
Well, there are a number of really quite straightforward companies that sell freighter travel. There's an outfit in New York or in Long Island called Travel Tips. And then there's another one called Freighter World Travel in California. And there's
Right.
various places like that. Most travel agents don't know about them because they don't make much of a commission on
Right.
them. They're not interested in it.
And can I ask you how expensive these
It's
sort
expensive.
of trips are?
That's the craziness. It's expensive.
Uh-huh.
It will cost me more to go one way than probably crossing the Atlantic 2 or 3 times round trip by plane.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
It's really expensive.
Do
but
they
it's-
feed you?
Oh yeah, sure.
And what are the amenities?
accommodations
Are there any?
fabulous.
Really?
If I were to travel for a week on a cruise ship, it would cost me about $3,000 or $4,000 to have the accommodations I'll have for about $1,400
Right.
for 2 weeks one way.
1,400, 2 weeks one way. That's not bad.
So it's 2 weeks of being on board the ship, having
Right.
what I want in it. I'm getting to Europe. Granted, I have to find myself a ticket home.
Right.
But the experience is something I can't duplicate in any other way.
And what about the other people you meet that are doing the same thing?
It varies. They're also sort of travel in weird ways, ship freaks like I am, so
Right.
there's a certain common interest immediately. They're mostly fairly interesting and rather odd people, so it's a
Right.
good crowd to be with.
Yes.
And sometimes there's nobody else. And there was
Is that true?
Yes, I was all alone on a freighter 2 years ago. So you spend most of your time on your own anyway,
Right.
but then you have your meals with the crew in sort of an elegant little dining room, and there's an elegant little lounge, and you have wonderfully furnished, big, spacious cabins.
Right.
And then you have a lot of containers to walk around.
Yes.
And that's what the ship is.
I'm guessing you
It's
do a lot
container
of
ship.
reading on
Yes.
on a
I
trip
save
like
books
this.
all year long for just this purpose, and I save cassettes, and I have my own little cassette player and 2 little speakers, so my pseudo stereo is in the cabin,
Right.
and I have my music, and I have my books, and I have the sea and the sky.
This sounds great.
And it's like Nancy's beach house.
Right.
It's really what it's like. So you know what it's like
We
because
wanna
you've had that
go,
experience.
yeah.
It's really terrific.
Well, it sounds great. What's your name?
David Mirsky.
David, I'm Michael. It's good to meet you. This is
Michael.
Gino. We do a little TV show down here on Nantucket.
terrific.
Just
Good.
talk to people, and this has been fascinating. I'm going to make a few calls and find out about this freighter travel now because I've
As I
always
said,
wanted
the
to do it.
closest one is Travel Tips, and that's in Long Island.
Right.
I don't have the telephone number for you for that, but the other one, Freighter World Travel, I'm sure it's got an 800 number,
Right.
so you might be able to find it. And they're in Pasadena, California. And
it always feels good
Online, too, is a great
Well,
online.
I bet you.
Yeah.
Of course. I don't do that. I don't know
Right.
about that, but I'm sure you'd have access to that.
And it
easily.
always feels great leaving the port of Newark.
It's wonderful. It's fascinating going down under the bridges and then under the Verrazano Bridge, and there's Liberty in the distance,
Yeah.
green against the sky, which everybody kind of forgets that the
Yeah.
Statue of Liberty is green.
Yes, it is
And
indeed.
that the Eiffel Tower is red,
Yeah.
or sort of brick red. You know, these things that have these odd colors, and then out to sea. It's a great experience. Well,
Good.
look into it.
Have a good trip.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to talk to you. Bye-bye.